We'll just start over again. So welcome to Fab Fridays, and I'm Sally Lindgren, and today's topic is about Google and copyright. So what I'd like to do today is just to chat for a few minutes about why copyright is really, really important and becoming even more important as all of us enter this world of cloudness with our Google Docs and our Google Drive, with YouTube videos, and the idea that we can put pretty much anything in the cloud. And this has really been great and wonderful because we can do so many things. We can share with each other and all of those things. But in recent times, we've had a couple of incidents around the state where Google has come in and basically requested folks to delete documents from their Google Drive, which has been a bit easier said than done, because every time you put a document into Drive and share it with someone else, then when that's shared and that person looks at the document, another copy is created. So to track down something that would have to be removed is really quite a tedious task in order to track that down. And here's where the problem comes in. The problem comes in when folks inadvertently upload something into their Google Drive, and that might be copyrighted. So maybe it's a video clip from a professional development you've taken. Maybe it's a PowerPoint that you've gotten from somewhere that contains graphics or audio or video clips from some other copyrighted material. And what happens is when you take those documents and put them in your Google Drive, or and then share it with other people, then basically what you're doing is you're distributing copyrighted material, which is absolutely illegal to do. And we've had several incidents of copyright infringement with illegal distribution of copyrighted material through a variety of resources, mostly with peering types of software on people's computer. But the cloud makes it so much easier, and so much easier to do that. And sometimes it's so easy that we don't even necessarily realize we're doing it. And part of the problem comes in because we're looking at copyright in terms of fair use. As educators, we're used to really looking at fair use as a way to use a lot of copyrighted materials in our classroom, and then we don't think twice about it, moving it into our Google Drive or sharing it with kids, or maybe sharing it with teachers, or sharing it to the public or other agencies or other consultants or other of our colleagues and so on. And that's where we can get into trouble. So what happens is this: when complaints come to Google, Google then researches out the validity of those complaints, and then you might get a cease and desist letter to remove the content, particularly if it violates someone's copyright. So how that works is the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, and what happens there is that what that says is that folks who own a copyright on original material need to notify Google when they find a display or a link to their works displayed, that would be, not authorized, so in other words, it's pirated by somebody else. So it's really the burden of the copyright owner to find the infringement and then notify Google thereof of that infringement. So, all we know is that copyright is, owned by the owner. Fair use gives us the right to use parts of works, and I'm going to just share my screen here, and we're just going to review for a moment. I'm going to get the right screen going here. Let's get the 1 second. So let's share screen, and I think what we want to do is to maybe try sharing this one, if this works. Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay, so now you should be seeing my screen. So basically what happens then is, in fair use, we know that there are 4 areas in the Copyright Act that allow for educators to use copyrighted materials for certain things. And those things, as a reminder, are the purpose and character of the use. These are the balancing, such as including whether such use is of a commercial nature or nonprofit. and in education, we're nonprofit. The nature of the copyrighted work is considered the amount and the substantiality of the portion used and related to the copyright work as a whole, and the effect or the use upon the potential market for the value of the copyrighted work. So we have to consider those things. Now, that's one thing to display and use it in your classroom, but it's quite another thing to post it into Google and share it with the public. And that's where the line between fair use and copyright infringement often happens. So I'm going to stop share at this point. And if you Google copyright and Google, you'll get to a lot of different areas, and Google has a YouTube video, and I want to share that with you actually really quick here. So let me go share screen again. And just share with you that if we go to preview screens, let me see if I can share this. Actually, let me go back to here. And let's go back to here. So if you Google, for example, Google and copyright, you can get to their legal help section, and there's really a nice video here if you take note of the, and I'll put this link up for you here at the end. I'm not going to play this video because it is copyrighted, and I'm recording this session, and that would, and then posting that into Google would then be a violation of copyright. So do take a look at that video and see where that goes. So if I click on this video, it's actually going to take me to YouTube, and I've done that already. And if you go to YouTube, and many of us use YouTube in our work, if you take a look below the video, it'll tell you on the screen when the work was published, and it'll give you some kind of description. But honestly, below that, it'll say show more. And this is where you can find out what kind of license the video or piece of, if you're using a YouTube video in your presentations or in your classroom. If it's a standard YouTube license, it really is fully copyrighted, and you do not have the right to copy it. You do not have the right to download it. You have the right to store it, put it in your Google Drive. You do not have those rights. But there is something that you need to be aware of, and that is something called Creative Commons. And let me just show you. I'm going to stop this for a moment and see if I can share a slightly different screen with you. So let me come back here and share a slightly different screen to just show you what Creative Commons might look like. So let me pull this over onto my screen. So if we take a look at this would be, for example, a different video that's on YouTube. And if you do the show more underneath the video where it talks about the video itself, when it was uploaded, some explanation, the author, the category, and the license type, instead of the standard YouTube video, which is something we do not want to copy or distribute, is the Creative Commons Attribution License. And so it says specifically right there that reuse of this video is allowed, and you are able to use it in a variety of ways. So another word to look up for today is Creative Commons, to learn more about how you can remix and recreate and use those materials in a lot of our professional development materials. So that's another way that you can take a look at that. So just remember that anytime you upload things that are copyrighted into Google, Google does have filtering that can depict copyright things. They don't necessarily solicit looking for that, but they do respond to, and according to a Huffington Post article in 2012, it was something like more than 250,000 removal requests in a week, and this was in 2009. This is 2015. In the past month alone, in 2000, according this, and I believe this was in 2012 article from the Huffington Post, that Google in the past month received 1.2 million requests for removal, and on behalf of 1,000 copyright owners who believed their content was infringed upon by nearly 23,000 websites. So the whole idea is, and I know that data is a little bit old, but I can tell you that that data is probably still very alive and well in today's age with so many things being used in the cloud. So just be cautious and make sure that whatever you share in the cloud and whoever you share it with is not in violation of copyright, and you have nothing to worry about. So with that, I will say have a great Friday. It's been fabulous, and we'll see you next week.